regret a day in your life. Good days give you happiness and bad days give you experience. Welcome to BMC English News Live. Myself Marina Francis joining you with the news updates. Today's news in detail. Let us begin with the most comforting news from Bahrain. Bahrain eases COVID-19 curbs. From today onwards, Bahrain moves to the COVID-19 green alert level, announced the National Task Force for Combating the Coronavirus yesterday. The task force emphasized the importance of adhering to all precautionary measures detailed within the green alert level, noting the importance of wearing masks in indoor public areas and maintaining social distancing. The task force added that every person has a shared responsibility in ensuring transmission rates remain low and that national efforts to protect citizens and residents from COVID-19 are supported. The measures under the green alert level are as follows. Cinemas, indoor events and conferences and attendance of indoor sporting events will be opened to those who are vaccinated and have completed 14 days after the second dose of a vaccine and those who have recovered from COVID-19 by presenting the green shields on the Be Aware app. A vaccinated or recovered person must accompany children under the age of 12. The following sectors and activities will be open to the vaccinated and the unvaccinated: shopping malls and shops, restaurants and cafes, gyms and sports halls, swimming pools, barber shops, saloons and spas, playgrounds and entertainment centers, entering government centers, outdoors events and conferences, and attendance of outdoor sporting events. The green alert level also includes the option to attend education and training institutions, all while following necessary precautionary measures, including wearing a mask when indoors at public places and maintaining social distancing measures at all times. Labour and Social Development Ministry highlights digital strides. The Ministry of Labour and Social Development has launched 52 electronic services since the end of 2020 in cooperation with other government entities, including the Information and Electronic Government Authority (IGA). The services delivered to non-government organizations include employment, insurance against unemployment, licensing daycare clubs, people with physical disabilities and social assistance, said Labour and Social Development Minister Jamil bin Mohammed Ali Humaidan. He stressed the ministry's strides in providing digital services, allowing communication and interaction with beneficiaries in an easy and appropriate manner. He stressed the importance of investing in technological developments to provide services in a more accessible manner and to overcome the difficulties for citizens to benefit from the services. He hailed the resolutions of the Executive Committee chaired by His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, to speed up digital transformation as part of the mandatory precautionary measures to combat the novel coronavirus. This positive shift through modern technical means allows beneficiaries to access these services at any time and in an easy and convenient manner through the e-government portal and the Ministry of Labour and Social Development's portal, he said. He said that 122 services have been launched through various channels, including the call centers, the email, and adding that applications can now be downloaded from the ministry's website, filled and sent via mail. Bahraini flag raised at Tokyo Olympic Village. The Kingdom of Bahrain's national flag today flew high in the sky of the Japanese capital Tokyo, specifically in the main corridor of the Olympic Village, along with those of the rest of the participating countries in the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, which will officially start on Friday, July 23rd. The flags of the participating countries were raised in the Tokyo Olympic Village, without holding the usual official flag raising ceremonies and playing the national anthem for each country due to the precautionary measures applied by the organizing committee. The kingdom's delegation is participating in the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 under the name of Team Bahrain and the slogan "For this flag," a campaign which was first launched by His Majesty the King's Representative for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and kept thanks to the directives of the First Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sport, Chairman of the General Sports Authority and President of the Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa. Meanwhile, Deputy President of the Bahrain Olympic Committee (BOC), His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Ali Al Khalifa, arrives in Tokyo to head the kingdom's delegation to the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. Bahrain will tomorrow mark its 10th participation in the Olympic Games since 1984. The kingdom's delegation to the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 comprises 68 members, including officials and athletes, in addition to technical, administrative and media personnel. Bahrain will, for the first time, compete in 5 sports, namely athletics, handball, boxing, swimming and archery. The Bahrain national handball team is the representative of the Asian continent along with the hosts Japan. Meanwhile, the kingdom participates in boxing for the first time. The national stadium in Tokyo exploded in indigo and white as fireworks marked the start of the opening ceremony for the Olympics on Friday, today, celebrating the world's best athletes set to compete amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Postponed for a year, organizers were forced to take the unprecedented step of holding the games without fans as the novel coronavirus is on the rise. Japan's Emperor Naruhito is set to declare the opening of the Tokyo Olympics on Friday, reprising the role of his grandfather who opened the last Tokyo Olympics in 1964. E-scooters safety alert. In Bahrain, electronic scooters are posing serious risks to the users and the general public, warned authorities. These gadgets are sold in Bahrain and used by both children and adults on main roads and even on major highways. Helping workers beat the heat. With the mercury soaring in Bahrain, volunteers have stepped up their efforts to help outdoor workers beat the heat by offering them cool drinks and fruits to boost their energy. According to the office yesterday, it is going to be hot and humid over the next 5 days with maximum temperatures ranging from 47 degrees Celsius to 44 degrees Celsius and maximum humidity between 85% and 90%. Health checks on labour camps. Labour camps, shops and workshops across the Muharram Governorate were inspected throughout the Eid al-Adha holidays to ensure that health and safety of expatriate workers were not being compromised. The checks were conducted by Muharram Deputy Governor Brigadier Abdullah Al-Jiran along with a number of officials from ministries concerned. New vision for future healthcare. An advanced tech-driven healthcare front could be the result of future collaborations between Bahrain and South Korea, according to a top diplomat. South Korean Ambassador Hae Kwan-chung said the way forward was to adopt lessons learned from the pandemic, adding that he was optimistic about joint ventures post-COVID-19. 133 new COVID-19 cases registered in Bahrain on Thursday. Bahrain yesterday recorded 133 new COVID-19 cases alongside 106 recoveries and no fatalities. The Health Ministry said that out of the new cases, 63 were expatriate workers, 58 contacts of local cases and 12 travel-related. Bahrain's daily positivity rate is currently at 0.99%. Meanwhile, contact tracing over the past week revealed that most of the cases were work-related. Epidemic-free Hajj this year, says Saudi Health Minister. Saudi Minister of Health Dr. Tawfiq bin Fawzan Al Rabi'a has announced the success of the health plan for this year's Hajj and that it is free from outbreaks of coronavirus and other epidemic diseases. In a press statement today, the minister expressed his thanks to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud and His Royal Highness Crown Prince for their interest and keenness to provide all means and capabilities to serve pilgrims and facilitate their performance of Hajj rituals in a comfortable and safe atmosphere. Saudi to ban unvaccinated people from entering public places from August 1st. Saudi Arabia will be banning all unvaccinated citizens and residents from entering public establishments such as malls and restaurants starting from August 1st, the Kingdom's Ministry of Municipal and Rural Affairs announced on Tuesday. Anyone who has not been inoculated against the coronavirus will not be allowed to enter malls, shopping centers, retail stores and markets according to the ministry. People will also need to show proof of vaccine to be allowed entry into restaurants, cafes, men's barber shops, beauty salons, wedding and party halls. In continuation of the ministry's efforts to protect the public health, it is required to vaccinate workers and visitors who work in or will enter several municipal establishments, the ministry said on Twitter. Earlier this week, the Interior Ministry announced that starting from August 9th, all Saudi Arabian citizens will be required to have taken 2 doses of a COVID-19 vaccine before traveling outside the kingdom. Oman to reopen vaccination slots for people aged 18 above. The national campaign for immunization against COVID-19 in Oman will resume on Sunday, according to a report in the Times of Oman. Appointments can be booked online for those who are 18 years and over starting Friday. In UAE, the suspension of incoming scheduled passenger flights from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh has been extended until at least July 28th, Dubai's flagship airline Emirates said on Friday. Passengers who have connected through these countries over the last 14 days too will not be accepted to travel from any other point to the UAE, the airline added. Now, we shall be back after a very short break.
All your favorite products under one roof in Bahrain at 27-year-old Megamart and Macromart. Bakery, fresh meat and fish, fruits and vegetables, sweets and snacks, ready-to-eat foods, dairy products, grocery or consumer goods. To have a wonderful shopping experience, please visit your nearest Megamart Macromart branch. Megamart and Macromart, full of goodness.
Welcome back. Italy to require COVID-19 pass for many activities. With daily COVID-19 cases sharply rising again, Italy will soon require people to have passes reflecting their health status to access gyms, museums, movie theaters, the inside of restaurants and other venues. Premier Mario Draghi's government approved a decree Thursday ordering the use of the so-called green passes starting on August 6th. To be eligible for a pass, individuals must prove they have received at least one vaccine dose in the last 9 months, recovered from COVID-19 in the last 6 months, or tested negative in the previous 48 hours. The passes will be needed to dine at tables inside restaurants or cafes, to attend sports events, town fairs and conferences, among other activities, according to officials. The certification is needed to keep economic activity open and will allow people to enjoy entertainment with the assurance that they won't be next to contagious people. Some 40 million people in Italy have already downloaded a green pass, Health Minister Roberto Speranza said. He noted that the certification is already required to attend wedding receptions and to visit residents of care homes. New Zealand pops travel bubble with Australia over COVID-19 cases. New Zealand has closed its border to Australia, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said on Friday as the neighbouring country was struggling to contain new COVID-19 outbreaks. The so-called Trans-Tasman travel bubble began on April 19th and allowed Australians and New Zealanders to travel between the two countries without the need to quarantine. However, Ardern said the Delta variant had materially changed the risk profile and COVID-19 is now widespread in Australia. The Prime Minister said New Zealand's border would close from midnight Friday and would remain closed for at least 8 weeks. The suspension would give Australia time to manage its current outbreaks. More than 60 killed in Maharashtra landslide. At least 65 people have died in the western Indian state of Maharashtra after torrential monsoon rains caused landslides and flooding that submerged low-lying areas and cut off hundreds of villages, authorities said on Friday. Rivers in Maharashtra were flooded after authorities released water from dams made full after many parts on the west coast received more than 200 mm of rain in 24 hours and some parts received as high as 594 mm rainfall. At least 4 people died after a building collapsed in the financial capital Mumbai and another 61 were killed in 4 landslides in other parts of Maharashtra, state government officials said. China evacuates tens of thousands. Tens of thousands of people were being evacuated from flood-hit regions of central China yesterday as officials raised the death toll from heavy rains that have deluged Henan province for almost a week to 33. More cities were inundated and crops destroyed as the severe weather spread northwards. The Provincial Weather Bureau raised the storm alert for 4 cities in the north of Henan to red, the highest tier of a 4-step color-coded weather warning system. More than 73,000 people were being evacuated from the city of Anyang after being swamped by more than 600 mm of rainfall since Monday. 7 medium-sized reservoirs had overflowed, affecting scores of nearby villages and towns. US jobless claims to rise to 419,000 from a pandemic low. The number of Americans seeking unemployment benefits rose last week from the lowest point of the pandemic, even as the job market appears to be rebounding on the strength of a reopened economy. The Labor Department said Thursday that jobless claims increased last week to 419,000, the most in 2 months, from 368,000 in the previous week. The number of first-time applications, which generally tracks layoffs, has fallen steadily since topping 900,000 in early January. Wildfires raging across the globe. From Russian Siberia to New York and British Columbia in Canada, wildfires have erupted across the globe, scorching places that rarely burned before. Yakutsk in Siberia is known as the world's coldest city, but now the city is blanketed in haze as nearby wildfires tear through forests that have been parched by weeks of heat waves. The fires are so big and the winds strong, smoke is traveling as far away as Alaska. According to a CNN special report, in the US, the bootleg wildfire in Oregon has grown into a monstrous complex with its own weather, sending the dense smoke some 5,000 kilometers across one end of the continent to the other. New York City on Wednesday woke up to an intense red sunrise, the smell of wildfires, and a thick brown haze. Firefighters in both countries, as well as British Columbia in Canada, are fighting a near impossible battle. With that news, we come to the end of today's news updates. We shall be back every day at 7:30 p.m. with the daily news updates in English. Good night.